about election and predestination, it's just like the woman takes a big bolt of cloth and she puts a pattern on it and she cuts the pattern out. That is the elect, and what's left over is the same material exactly. The foolish virgin are no different from the wise, but they don't have the oil, they don't have the light. But they're going to make it. And there's not one son of God he's going to lose. God can't lose a part himself. Okay, we got number 5. So number 5 down here. We go along. Now the word body is exactly as we said. And the word or expression was as to its essence absolute deity. As the Hebrew said, the exact reproduction of his essence. God producing sons. Now, if God desired, and he did desire, to have a form according to his own convenience and what he wanted at a certain time for a certain purpose, he could do the same with us. So therefore he gave us flesh bodies. Now he could have made us angels, but he didn't. You don't look like it anyway, so we're going to bypass that one. You know what I mean? He could have made us look like pretty flowers, little petals and petunias, but he didn't. God is acting with us identical. He's acting right down the line because God cannot change. And Brother Branham said, God did a thing once, one way. He's got to do it entirely because he's not like you and me experimenting. It has to be the right way. And he said it started with blood in the garden because that was the right way, and it's going to go all the way. And remember, I'm going to tell you something. Remember what came to me, attrition. And that attrition is where, when it gives out, they don't hire anymore. And at this time, when the bride is going off the scene and made up, there will not be any more, or I've got some kind of a fluky spirit upon me. I could remember that word, but the word the other night I couldn't remember. And that's the word I'm trying to get in here. It starts with C-O-N. It's not in the dictionary. But it has to do with the very thing we're talking about. This transmutation, not a transmutation, but it's more like a what? A manipulation? It's a passing over. Jesus himself said, I proceeded forth, I came out of, and the word born means to issue forth. And when the word proceeded is used, he said, I proceeded forth, I issued forth from my Father. Now did he or didn't he? An entire essence, creating a race of God. That's a fantastic thing to realize the family of God, what God's doing here. Okay, number 6 in here. Now, we bypassed the form that was allotted us at the same time that Christ got his. We bypassed the word form. Bypassed. Word form. Body. We bypassed that. And we came right down now, because we come now through Adam. And in Adam was Eve. But God did not recognize Eve. He recognized Adam because of name. So he didn't recognize her name. Adam gave Eve her name, which is the mother of all living, and science has proven that. Of course, they try to tell there's many, many women, but just Eve. The Eve, as they call her now, was the mother of all living. See, you don't care what anybody says. Every type, every shadow, everything going on in the world right now proves where we are at. Right? Just say, well, who knows anything? Now, we're being hated now, and the books are getting very rough and dirty about us. Because there are a dirty bunch of scum out there. There's a bunch of filthy serpent seed. Children of the devil posing as servants of God and children alike, because that's exactly what the devil does, and he will do exactly as Judas did. He will even raise the dead with the power of God to destroy the Christ. So you get ready for the screech. If you don't want the screech, you better leave here now. Because we're already, pegged by the people. Now let's go to 2 Corinthians again and see this. Now, for we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle, for we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, or if we know that our earthly tabernacle were dissolved, taken away, and the same thing is used, I would think, with the word earth dissolved, loosed, going to a state from which a future state, incorruptible, will come. We have a building of God, a house not made with hands, the eternal heaven. Now, Brother Branham used the word eternal, which means it has no beginning and end. So that's the house here that Jesus got that we didn't get. Because in essence, it is deity. Now that's hard to understand, but who cares if it's hard? Believe it. I'd like you to figure out your own flesh. Come on, be smart. I'll even let you take sperm and egg and see if you can bring it into a baby. No test tube now and feeding it elements and things. Just fiddle around with it and do something. Come on, smart guys. Can't do it. Too stupid. Thank God. Don't fool around with it, just believe it. What came out of God? Horse feathers? I'm a crazy kind of a talker, but I got to jar you to make you know you've got to understand one thing. What comes out of God is God. Right? Absolutely. Everything else did not come out of him, but through the intermediate agency, as they say, which I'll accept that for the time being. Look, I don't mind. Everything else came into being out here. So you got to understand then, right here, we miss that. Now, this being God, a manifestation of the very essence, it will be eternal. So somehow God allowed us to split. Then to bring us back together. And that's what God did with Adam and Eve. He let them split to bring them back. So there was a split there. And we split from this. We'll put the, we put in here the, just for the fun of it, like we'll put in here the theophonic form. Put theo there, form. We bypassed it. We missed it. See? We didn't have it. To come on down here through human instrumentality, that God allowed the serpent seed to get in here, and now we got a mixed race. But notice, the mixture of that race was not quite what people think. They think from the fall, everything was just into the state of being reprobates. God did not bring forth a reprobate. God brought forth a son, for Adam was the son of God. So therefore, every son is intrinsically, and every daughter that comes through Adam and Eve, regardless of their fall, is a son and daughter of God. And I don't care if they come up with horseshoes on their head and a cigar hanging out of their mouths. See, that's what people are always getting confused with, is a form. And the more you get confused, the stupider you're going to get. That's why I'm doing everything I can to be showing just how stupid the human race can be. Let's watch. Out of Adam and Eve. Now she let the serpent come in, and here comes this roustabout Cain. In the meantime, Eve is pregnant by Adam, and here comes this fine son of God, which is Abel. Now, Cain is already messed up because the life of the serpent took on the form of a son of God. Now, he looked just like him, but he wasn't. There's no place for a soul. But now there's a soul there. All right, now the Abel got killed, so now we got Seth. Now Seth married his sister. And on down here, you have the godly line of Seth. This fellow also married his sister from over here, his sister. Now you got mixture. They married into each other, and they married, and because he was a giant, and because he had a good figure, he brought forth women that were voluptuous. And I suppose the ideal measurement would be about 36 and 24, 36, something like that, or maybe what? If you want to get extra good, I suppose they want a 38 by 20.